Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon, and we're going to talk about YouTube. We're going to talk about the writer's strike. We're going to talk about scabbing. And we're going to talk about how writers who are on strike right now are kind of pushing their way into YouTube. And here they come, guys. Here they come. This kind of happened before. I remember back in 2007, 2008, that a lot of unemployed or striking writers were going to the internet to try to bide their time, to try to stay relevant, to try to make some money. And as a result of that, we got sites like, I think Funny or Die was one of them. College Humor was another one. And now they're looking at YouTube. In fact, some of them are even pimping their kids out for YouTube. But it's kind of interesting because this might explain why they have tried so hard to shut up YouTubers, to shut up influencers, TikTokers. You know, I don't think this is particularly fair to drag YouTubers and TikTokers into a fight that is not theirs. They have no skin in this game, but they have threatened to blacklist you if you say anything negative about the strikes, or if you even support struck studios. Like if they send you a package and they want you to review something, if they invite you to a movie premiere, whatever it is. There were questions about whether or not you could cosplay, you know, as characters that are in shows or movies, you know, by struck studios. And I thought that was massive overreach. In fact, that actually soured me quite a bit on the strike, because I'm like, you don't have any right to tell influencers who work outside the Hollywood system what they can and can't cover. It's not our problem. You know, it's not our problem right now. And there are some people in this space doing what we're doing that want to work in Hollywood, and they want to be screenwriters working on some show. And there are lots of journalists out there working for pop culture sites that fancy themselves as aspiring Hollywood writers. So, of course, they're standing pretty hard for the WGA, for SAG-AFTRA. And I'm telling you guys, you're not going to get that cookie. They're not going to give you a cookie. They're going to get what they're going to get for themselves. And you guys are going to be dirty YouTubers. You're always going to be dirty YouTubers to them, always, without fail. They kind of look down their noses at people like us. I'm just saying, that's how it goes. That's how it goes. So we're going to talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture, news, views, and rants. Guys, Geeky is not here, but she will give you a woohoo when she comes back. We're actually in and out a lot this weekend. You might see some live streaming in between these pre-recorded videos. I'll give you some indication of where we are. So yeah, let's talk about the writer's strike here first, and then we're going to talk about how they're kind of pushing into YouTube and how they're kind of trying to control YouTube. I think that's what's behind all this, is they know that people are going to change the channel. They're going to go from watching their stuff to watching YouTube, which is actually going to give the studios more leverage, because they're going to be like, hey, you know, people aren't watching your stuff anyway, so you're going to get what you get, right? So the Hollywood Reporter had this article up, Geeky sent me, turning my 2-year-old into a YouTube star is how writers are staying creative as the strike hits 100 days, right? So this is kind of crazy. This is Caroline Dries of the Vampire Diaries. Why is it she sounds familiar? She sounds familiar. I think we've covered her before. As I sensed the strike looming, I knew I needed to find ways to fill the day creatively and substantively, or I would lose my mind. So I did what every normal parent does and invested 100% of my energy into turning my 2-year-old into a YouTube star. A week into the strike, my wife and I had a script, a set, green screen, lights, and a wardrobe. But despite our enthusiasm, it turned out that the same 2-year-old who doesn't listen to me when I say stop dumping out the bubbles also doesn't listen to me when I say action cut or stop eating the props. The experiment was a blast, though, and it afforded us the only silver lining of the strike, which is a rare abundance of quality family time. Now, that's actually kind of cool that you're spending family time. But your first reaction is, I want to pimp my kids out. So in all seriousness, right? And I'm sure this is just, you know, for kicks, right? But in all seriousness, they are gunning for YouTubers. I firmly believe it. And I hate to be like us versus them, but you want to know why I have gone from being like, well, good luck with that. You know, if you can get it, to like, what the fuck are you doing? It's because of the overreach that SAG-AFTRA is telling influencers that they can't do anything to support the studios. They have very nebulous guidelines, and that there literally are people keeping track of who is and who is not for and against the strikes, right? And as someone who is eligible, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, whatever, I'm eligible to join SAG-AFTRA. We are. My wife and I actually are. By their influencer criteria, we are actually eligible to join. I will not do that. I like to cut my own deals. I don't want to be beholden to these people, you know, because someday I might get a biscuit. You're not going to get a biscuit. Actually, I think what's going to happen when the dust settles is we're going to have a very, very different Hollywood. And I think that there's going to be more opportunity for non-union workers to produce shows that Hollywood distributes. Maybe you don't work directly in Hollywood, but who the hell would want to? You know, who would want to? Have you seen LA lately? Yeah, just saying. So that's where I think things are going to go. But they're definitely gunning for YouTubers and TikTokers. This just came out today. This is TechCrunch. It just came out today, and we've covered this before. It says Hollywood's writers and actor unions remain on strike. The studios are turning to content creators to promote their movies and attend their screenings. But over 115 creators with a combined 80 million followers are pledging that they won't cross the picket line while the SAG-AFTRA and WGA strike rages on. Before I was a creator, I used to work in restaurants full-time. That makes me no stranger to being exploited for my labor. Says a TikToker with 1.7 million followers. Another TikToker and Gen Z for Change director Victoria Hammett was organizing creators to show solidarity with striking writers and actors. And he signed on to his pledge, which is called Labor Over Likes? Labor Over Likes, guys. Here it is. 115 YouTubers and TikTokers and people who want to be in Hollywood. Join us as we hope that Hollywood will give us a biscuit at some point in time, and they're not going to. And look, I feel bad for the little guys that are getting caught up in this. I do think there are some smaller creators that are getting caught up in this, but you've got the SAG-AFTRA out there, like letting people film movies, right? You're not allowed to. You have to go picket, but they're letting these A-listers film movies because they got an exception, you know, an interim agreement. You know, the WGA, I mean, this is just massive overreach, I think. And again, a lot of these people want to be part of Hollywood. So they think if they do this, that they're going to get a biscuit. They might. I mean, who the hell knows? They might actually get a biscuit at some point in time. But look, Hollywood doesn't think too kindly of YouTubers or TikTokers. Even the biggest YouTubers, TikTokers, Twitch streamers don't get very far in Hollywood. And I think there's some actual animosity toward creators like us. You know, they were actually mocking PewDiePie. I remember they were making fun of him at an awards show. Who the hell is this guy? Nobody's heard of this guy. Ha ha ha. And at the time, he was the largest YouTuber. He was the biggest thing there was before Mr. Beast. You know, that's what they think. They had him on Conan O'Brien, I remember, just to make fun of him. Rhett and Link, they have a show or something, I think, on some channel, and they're huge on YouTube. But they're not going to let them host the Tonight Show or anything like that. You know, they're not going to. Because you're competition. You are competition. You make livings, sometimes better livings than the people working in Hollywood. And you make it outside of that system, and you don't have to play by their rules. If you play by their rules, you'd be flat ass broke like the rest of them. I'm just saying. If you want to be flat ass broke, go for it. You do that. You do that. You do whatever you want to do. And again, I had a lot more sympathy for this strike, you know, and what they were trying to accomplish personally until they started to crack down on what content creators could say, what YouTubers and TikTokers could say. And they came out that they were actually keeping score of who was supporting them, who wasn't supporting them. That pissed me off. That really pissed me off. So when the WGA last went on strike in 2007, internet personalities didn't have nearly the same reach they do today. At the time, Smosh had the most subscribers on YouTube with around 100,000. That's still a substantial audience, but these days some major creators have even larger audiences than Hollywood stars, making them an obvious target for studios that are struggling to promote their new releases, as well as unions that are trying to keep people from changing the channel and watching YouTube. And we're going to pull up this other article too. There's a lot of concern at the start of the strike that those studios would be reaching out to non-union members and trying to get them to produce content for them to replace the striking writers and actors. I think it's important that in such a blended space where we're all part of this much larger amorphous blob of a creative content industry, that we're quite clear we're not interested in doing that. We're all in this together, guys. Just like SAG-AFTRA, we're all in this together except for the people that have an interim agreement that can still film movies. But the rest of you get out there, you little guys, you go strike. These A-listers, they're going to film their indie movies though, and that's how we're going to do it. And they don't need the money as bad as you do. We're not all in this together, right? We're not. Let's just cut the shit. Just stop lying to people. These kids are young and impressionable, and they honestly think Hollywood is going to throw them a bone. And I've been watching YouTube since the very beginning. Very few people have broken through into massive like Hollywood success. It is and probably always will be to a certain degree an us versus them situation. And the reason that YouTube is in the state that it's in right now is that Hollywood was like, well, shit, we can't control YouTube. They've tried to strike channels. They've tried to strike YouTubers. They've spent lots of money to, I believe, shut up channels that are critical of Hollywood. They've pushed their late night talk shows to the top of YouTube. Inorganically, probably. I mean, who the hell knows? It could be like a tit for tat. Like, yeah, that means something. Look that up. But it could be a deal like, hey, we'll spend a bunch of money on advertising on YouTube, Google, if you push, Jimmy Kimmel, even though nobody gives a shit about what Jimmy Kimmel has to say. So I'm just saying, like, don't make the mistake, children, of thinking that Hollywood is going to do you any favors. You are on your own, pal. I mean, there are some companies in Hollywood that will work with creators to some degree. But as far as getting that fat deal and stuff, you're not going to be headlining movies. You're not going to get your own sitcom. If you do, it's not going to last very long. Ask Fred. Ask how that worked out for him. Remember Annoying Orange, the TV show? No, you don't, because it didn't last very long. I'm just saying. Just saying. It's not going to go the way you think it's going to go. But good luck with that. If you really think that they're gonna welcome you with open arms, good luck with that. So right here, YouTube does not respect the writer's strike. That could be a big problem for TV. And they get down to this. This is what this is all about. The reason that they are trying to shut YouTubers up and TikTokers up is this. YouTube is rapidly replacing television. While social media is rightly cause of considerable scrutiny as far as the film and TV world is concerned, its impact has been relatively muted. A survey by Verto showed Facebook's average session length is less than 5 minutes. We're going to talk in another video about Threads is failing. This is because Facebook and Instagram are primarily used for short interactions such as messaging. TikTok is a different case. It's an incredibly powerful new challenger with an average session length of more than 10 minutes. Nonetheless, it has limitations as a substitute for film and TV. Its videos are typically short, and its advertising products to this point are similarly brief and skippable on contact. This is not the case for YouTube. Despite the launch of TikTok clone shorts, YouTube has stuck to a core horizontal format, one of a number of crucial differences from its social media peers, which makes it functionally more like Netflix than Facebook or Instagram. Its commercials more closely resemble those of television, and its ad breaks are becoming more like what we remember from linear TV, making it an easy switch for a traditional advertising industry seeking to explore digital. Thus, money pipeline that funded the TV shows the striking writers worked on is now increasingly headed to YouTube. It should be Thus, the money pipeline that funded the TV shows the striking writers worked on is now increasingly heading to YouTube. This is 100% true. As blogs are folding because the ad revenue is not there, I can tell you we're getting more sponsorship offers than we've ever had. We're seeing better rates on our videos than we've had in a very long time. They are spending their money on YouTube, and this is pissing Hollywood off. It is. Actually, you'd be thrilled to know, striking writers and actors, that your beloved studios are spending money on YouTube videos. They're advertising all kinds of movies and TV shows and streaming services on YouTube. You know, trying to pull that audience over to their platform. That's not the only way YouTube is becoming television. Almost half of US YouTube viewing now happens on TVs rather than phones or desktops. In fact, research agency Nielsen says that YouTube is the single biggest channel in the US, with 8% of total viewing meaningfully ahead of Netflix on 6.9% and more than twice of Hulu and 3.3%. Perhaps more troubling again is the trend line. When the Gauge chart debuted in August of last year, Netflix had a handy lead over YouTube, meaning that the UGC channel overtook its more conventional counterpart in a matter of months, even before the strike came along. YouTube's revenue share model allows a small number of power users to make meaningful incomes, and sometimes a lot more from the service. A huge army of lower tier users flock to YouTube with dreams of joining that group, creating content to fill every conceivable form of niche. YouTube's 2022 Culture Report bears this out, with 55% of Gen Z viewers noting they watch content no one else they know personally is interested in. That's a complete reversal of the big shared moments most legacy media aim to create. It kind of has destroyed pop culture too. Like, we don't have these shared experiences. The picket line is crossed every day because of YouTube, because of Mr. Beast. I mean, this is, you know what I'm saying? The reason they're so pissed off at people like us, it's not because we criticize their shitty TV shows and their shitty movies. It's because YouTubers are a threat to this strike, because studios are going to look at this and they're going to be like, hey, yeah, you know, people are still watching YouTube. Those guys are still working. We can get them to promote stuff. Now, I'm not saying I will. I'm not saying that at all. But it is interesting that, you know, even in the animation space, one of the biggest shows out there, as far as, you know, making waves in the animation scene, is like Has Been Hotel, and that started on YouTube. A lot of shows are being incubated kind of on YouTube. Now, I don't think that most YouTubers are going to become massive successes. Like, Odd Ones Out had a show. I don't know if it really went anywhere, but it is absolutely a threat. So here they come. They're going to try to either join us or shut us up, shut us down. And that's what this whole thing is all about. And it pisses me off immensely. Now, if Fran Drescher would like to show up at my house and explain to me why I should be on board with this strike that literally does not affect me in any way, shape, or form, she's more than welcome to. Actually, I'd ask for her autograph. She can autograph my Spinal Tap, you know, LP or something. That'd be pretty cool. But other than that, like, it doesn't affect us. It really doesn't. And they're trying to make you think it affects you, and they're trying to dangle a carrot that you're never going to get, fam. You're never going to get. Did I just say fam? God, that was lame. But you're never going to get in. You're not going to get in. So you don't have to play by their rules. Do what's best for you. You do what's best for you. And in a lot of cases, that means you don't go along with the rest of the group. You become an individualist. I'm going to wrap this up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later. Help support the channel. Go to thereef.support and get early access to podcasts, videos, and other content. That's thereef.support.